Welcome to Heat Checks and Hail Marys. This is Mike Kegley, and it was another jam-packed week. Illinois faces yet another star missing times. In the past few seasons, we've had Terrence Shannon Jr. miss time for a legal situation that he was ultimately declared not guilty. Kofi Coburn got a very unique NCAA clothing suspension. You had Andre Curbelo had concussion issues. And Io, of course, dealt with getting a broken nose at the hands of the Michigan State Spartan team. And now we have Tomislav Ivicic added to the list, and he's now dealing with mono. Something new every week. The Bears landed the hottest up and coming name on the head coaching market by hiring Ben Johnson. Losing their offensive coordinator will be tough on the Lions. The NFC North is a challenging division, but the Lions will also have to deal with losing their defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn. Maybe the Bears can get a line and give an opportunity for Caleb Williams to improve. Ben Johnson will make a big difference. Meanwhile, Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboy owner, hired Brian Schottenheimer, their offensive coordinator, who worked in that role for the Cowboys under previous coach Mike McCartney, is now the new head coach. The Cowboys continue forward with a coach who's been in the NFL since 1997 and yet has never been a head coach. Jerry is so predictable. And sadly, Efrem Winters, an Illini legend, has suddenly passed. Let's take a deeper dive into a few subjects. Heat check number one, the Illini dealing with an ailing center. The Illini are dealing with Tomislav coming down with mononucleosis. This is an issue that for the Illini has almost become unpredictably predictable. We don't know what exactly will happen to an Illini player, but we do know that something will happen to an Illini player. Will it be a hatchet job like Michigan State unleashed on Io and East Lansing? Will it be an NCAA related suspension like Kofi Coburn's uniform gate? When you look at what's going on today, that seems like such an idiotic thing to suspend a player for. Will it be a concussion situation, as Andre Curbelo and Kofi also dealt with? Will it be a baseless accusation like the one that forced Terrence Shannon Jr. out of the lineup? The Illini must construct a roster to face the unexpected. I didn't even get to the possible overdose of Monster Energy drink suffered by former Illini Matt Meyer. Coaches have a crazy balancing act to deal with today. Players want their playing time, and they don't want to wait their turn, regardless of whether it's best for the team or even their own long term interest. Play me today rules the modern day play motivation. Players today want to maximize their NIL earnings, and I do not blame them for that. But they can be contacted through third parties with no consequences to the teams who would be looked upon as tampering with the player's relationship with their current team. Finding the highest bidder is easier than it ever was. It's way easier. Collective donors want their NIL donations to go to a winning team, and they want to be associated with a successful player. No one wants to pay a player for tomorrow's contribution when only today matters. Depth beyond the guys who will play is largely a dream that will never be accomplished. The transfer portal makes it easy to move to the next school. And like it or not, it won't be long before a player challenges the portal itself, and the NCAA will be forced to eliminate its very few regulations around the portal. Folks, save this. It's only going to get crazier. There's a reason why older coaches or coaches who abhor change are exiting the stage. It's easy to attack a coach for their roster building, But it's also not easy to get the funding that they need from donors, keep players and their families happy, and manage to win games. Brad Underwood has done a pretty good job in the NIL transfer portal era at the University of Illinois. But I'd offer that he needs a contingency player for each season because clearly you never know what's going to happen, but you know something's going to happen. Hail Mary number one. Jerry Jones continues to shoot the Cowboys squarely in the face. Jerry Jones proved in 1993 that his ego was more important than the success of what he called his pride and joy, the Dallas Cowboys. When he fired Jimmy Johnson for not wanting to give the amateur GM, Jerry, more control over the team and for trying to take credit for the Super Bowls won, any wise Cowboy fan knew the future would indeed be bleak, though I don't think they knew how bleak. And since the Cowboys won the 1995 Super Bowl with a team littered with Jimmy Johnson's fingerprints all over it, the Dallas Cowboys haven't returned to an NFC championship game. Ex players and broadcasters who are now harping on this fact about the behavior of Jerry Jones here in 2025 are literally 28 years late to the party. Guys, how did you miss this? People like me have been whining about this for better part of my son's entire life. The Cowboys have now decided to hire a lifelong assistant to run the team. And quite frankly, with Jerry Jones being the owner, what better choice could he make? Jerry doesn't want a type A driver, a dynamic leader of men, a person with the force of will, which is used to inspire a team to overcome any obstacle. He's had two of those guys. He chased them both away. Jerry chased Jimmy Johnson and Bill Parcells, two guys with that profile right out of Dallas. Either one could have led the Cowboys to the promised land again. But Jerry would rather get 100% of the credit for a mediocre team as opposed to sharing the credit for a Super Bowl champion. It's really quite pathetic. Stephen Jones, his son, he can use air quotes to describe the word drought when it comes to the Cowboys and Super Bowls. Things won't change until his dad is no longer in control of the Cowboys. And with stupid comments like that, Steven might be just as crippled of an owner as Jerry is. And when his term comes, there probably won't be any relief for Cowboy fans. Sad times for what was once the world's greatest sports franchise. Heat check number two, the passing of Efrem Winters, an Illini legend. Today, the Illini Nation learned that Efrem Winters passed away at age 61. For those younger fans out there, you missed a player who turned the lob dunk into a work of art. If he had come along during the days of social media, Efrem would be a giant among basketball players. He could throw down a lob dunk with the best of anybody. He had style, and there were times that when he threw that ball through, it would bounce up higher than the basket. At 6'8" and 255 pounds, Efrem was a beast of a power forward. But he had a soft touch on a 15-foot jumper. He had a great turnaround jumper, especially along the baseline. And he had a great eye for the ball when it was time to go for the rebound. Now, I couldn't dunk, but in practice, if I'd shoot a turnaround jumper from the baseline, when it went in, I'd try to sound like the PA announcer at the assembly hall, and I would be Efrem Winters. Now, I've never formally met Efrem, but we did have one interaction. After one of the games in 1983, when fans rushed the field, I got pushed from behind from what appeared to be an ecstatic Bruce Douglas because I was on the ground and he was moving forward. Second later, I was picked up by Efrem Winters, who said, "You're all right. It's cool. And I agreed with him. I really wish I'd have had a follow up conversation with Efrem. I was hoping to interview him on our Eye on the Illini podcast that's on IlliniGuys.com. But I have the rare privilege of being able to listen to other Illini players. And over the years, people such as Bruce Douglas or Doug Altenberger, they've told me that Efrem was a gentle giant who was a soft spoken but tough competitor. Trust me, folks, he will be missed. I hope someone puts together a collection of his best dunks from that Illini team in the early 80s. He had a ton of them, and I'd hate for those highlights to fade from memory and float back into obscurity. Back in the day, they excited a ton of basketball fans and had the assembly hall rocking on many a cold winter night. Efrem, rest in peace. There are a lot of your fans out here who are genuinely saddened that you've passed on.